The most wanted precon. This is, I was so tempted to change this one. This was the first one I worked on. The problem with it is if I changed it to the secondary commander, which deals with the treasure tokens turning over into 3/3 mercenaries, is the rest of the deck doesn't fit well with it. So I didn't go that route. After kind of tooling around with this deck a little bit, figuring out my upgrades and all that, I actually, this commander grows on me a little bit more. Let me read it really quick for people listening. It's 1 colorless, red, white, and black flying lifelink vampire assassin. It is a 3/3. Whenever one or more outlaws you control deal damage to a player, create a treasure token. Outlaws are assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. And then you can tap 3, sacrifice 2 treasures, put 2 1/1 counters on each of creature you control. They don't have to be outlaws at that point. It's just each creature you control, and you can only activate as a sorcery. So I was like, oh man, you're tapping 3, you're getting rid of treasure. I was like, that just seems kind of bad. But everything in this deck is outlaws. So if you're pumping all those up and they're getting bonus triggers off of it, this one can actually get kind of crazy. What did I say? It is lacking treasure generation. If you could generate the treasures without having the creatures do the damage and give you treasures, that would be a way to do this, and that's actually what I did a little bit. Lacking game winners, and then also lacking sack benefits. So when you're getting rid of treasures or sacrificing those or whatever, you're not getting there aren't any beneficial cards. Like, whenever an artifact leaves play, whatever, do 1 damage and stuff. So I think this deck is missing a couple of those things. I think I added those in. I cut 13 cards in this deck.
You were aggressively cutting this time.
This is the one I went a little over budget, just a little bit.
I knew it.
All right, so here's the cuts. Shoot the Sheriff, Council's Judgment, Painful Truths, Curtain Call, Hex, Trailblazer Boots, because it focuses on one thing, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Back in Town, Org. No, is it Org? Remember when I did that before? It's Agre, Slumlord.
Agre? That's the
rat one.
French version.
Yeah, Agre. Captivating Crew. Even though some of these are just like, hey, they are outlaws, so we're throwing them in there. I don't like Captivating Crew in this. Feed the Swarm, Mass Mutiny, and then I cut 2 land because there is a lot of treasure in this deck. As for the ads, let's get to those 13 cards. So again, as you can see, I think I had the counterpart in the other deck. This one didn't have this one, so Big Score is in there. So it's the 3 red or 3 colorless and a red. You get to discard, and then you draw 2 cards, get 2 treasures. There's adding some more treasure in there. Bottle Cap Blast. So this is from the Fallout set. It has Improvise. So you can tap those treasures, which means you can sack those treasures, the ones that you tap, to utilize Olivia's ability. So you can tap them to do this part. But it has Improvise, and then it deals 5 damage to any target if excess damage was dealt to a permanent this way. Create that many tapped treasure tokens. So you could just wipe out something for 1, give yourself 4 treasure tokens if you wanted. You could potentially just cast this for 1 if you have enough artifact stuff out there. So I think this was a good removal because I did get rid of Hex, Curtain Call, Painful Truths were all removals, I believe. I don't remember what Painful Truths, because that is a newer card, I think, if I remember right.
No, that one is...
Which one is Painful Truths?
It's
I cut
3
one
of
the
3 different colors to draw 3 cards and lose 3 life.
Oh, that's right. Then it was Curtain's Call, I think was from the new set, I believe, or might have been from the Commander. There was a couple new ones I cut.
I don't recognize that one.
Generous Plunderer. I like this one a lot in this. So this is also a new card. It is also a rogue. So it's it's off the...
I don't know if that's in your budget anymore.
It might have gone up. It was when I did this, but... so this is 1 colorless, 1 red, human rogue, menace, 2/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a treasure token. If you do, target opponent creates a tap treasure token. Yours is not tapped, theirs is. When it attacks, it deals damage to a defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. This was in when we were doing our top 10. This was on my list of cards that I really liked. That we never got it in the top 10, but I liked this one a lot because of the everybody playing treasures and stuff like that. So I think this one's perfect because it's also a rogue. So
our top 10 could have just been big scorecards.
Right,
Let's
exactly.
be honest. I was trying to avoid that part.
That is completely true. Then one of our
it's like $5 now.
okay, so that's about where it was. It was
yeah.
This might be why I get over there because then we also have one of our other top 10 cards or a top 10 card, Great Train Heist for 1 red, and then has the untap all your creatures. They get an additional attack phase, so that helps. Your creatures get 1+0 in first strike, and then when your creatures deal combat damage, you get treasure tokens. So it's adding that treasure tokens, and we got mode stuff there. Another new card. Man, look at all these new cards I'm throwing in here. Hell to Pay.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Hell
Good job
to Pay.
being good at building decks.
They just didn't put the new cards in. This would be fantastic in there. So it deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tap treasure tokens equal to the excess damage. So it's like the one before, except this one's sorcery. And you can control the X. So if it's late game, you could wipe out a 1/1 and give yourself 9 tapped whatever treasure tokens. Again, you can sack those treasure tokens to use Olivia's ability. They can be tapped. It doesn't matter. Camball. 10? What? Yeah, that's a good point. The next turn.
All right.
Then they're untapped. Then it doesn't matter. Shut up. Don't. This is my fantasy magic Christmas thing. All right. So Camball, the new Camball Profiteering Mayor. So this one is whenever one or more tokens, again, it's tokens. It's not saying creatures, enters the battlefield under your control. For each of them, create a tap token of that. That's a copy of it. It only triggers once each turn. Whenever one or more of your tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. So not only you're creating those treasures and getting more treasures, but now you're dealing 1 damage. Well, everybody's losing 1 life and you're gaining 1 life off of that as well. So
for sure,
this one's an all-star in this, and it's not expensive, and it's from the new set too.
That's
then
a good card.
Another Fallout, which also is a mercenary, so it fits with what the theme is. Kellogg, Dangerous Mind from Fallout, like I just mentioned. First strike, haste, 3/2. When it attacks, create a treasure. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Gain control of target creature for as long as you control this dude. You can only do it as a sorcery, but you're making treasures with this deck. You're taking creatures from people. This guy's attacking. He's giving you treasures. He has first strike, haste, all that stuff. So this guy's just all-star in this deck as well.
All right.
Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff, and this is from the Lord of the Rings set. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, lose a life and get a treasure. So we're getting more treasures. So remember I was saying the treasure generation.
You definitely got a lot more in there, I'd
say. You might be right. Hang on, you just asked whenever.
Just the trigger for
he's right.
Copying.
Comball is whenever they. Okay, you're correct.
But whenever one or more tokens
yes.
ETB for you, that's when the life loss happens in game.
But yeah, so it's whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield. Okay, yes. Yeah. There's the life loss there.
I probably missed that.
Okay, so then similar things with Comball's ability is we are doing Marionette Master. So this is I love this card. I spec'd on it, and it just never worked out because, one, it's not legendary. So it doesn't help that you can't build around Marionette Master.
Yeah.
But in this deck, the nice thing is you don't do the fabricate. Well, you could add the counters on this, but your commander, when you're sacrificing the treasure tokens, it goes on all your creatures. So it would go on Marionette Master. So whenever an artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So let's just say you put all 3 of the 1/1 counters on it, and then even just that in itself, you're doing 4 damage to 1 player every time your treasure token goes to the graveyard. So this, you could wipe out a player easily with Marionette Master out there. Then we have Mayhem Devil. Whenever any player sacrifices a permanent, so that works with fetches and all that stuff, it deals 1 damage to any target. So this kind of has a little bit of removal built in, not just player damage. You could hit creatures if you plan it out right. So you can destroy your, sacrifice your treasures and target something and kill stuff. So I like this one in there. And the last 3. Mirkwood Bats, still super cheap. Get this while it's cheap, but whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses a life. Reckless Fireweaver, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage to each opponent. And then we finish off with the other one, Unexpected Windfall, similar to the first one that's at the top there. Which one?
Big Score.
Big Score. Those two I play hand in hand in almost every deck that I can with that deal with treasures. But you're discarding a card, drawing 2 cards, and getting treasures. So, and at instant speed. So I really like that. All right, the total though gets me to $20.71. So I didn't go over.
I'll
20.
let it slide.
Thank you.
I'll let it slide.
Thank you, kind sir. The Mr. Unlimited part.
Mr. Unlimited.
I think I have a lot here if I remember right. Yeah, I have 22 cards. All right. So
I'm seeing some damagers in this. Did you think about Torbrand?
I didn't have the budget to do Torbrand in this one, and
All right.
it was me adding. I added all the damagers. There is no other damagers. I believe in the deck. So I added all the. Hey, we're sacrificing treasures. We're doing things. Let's do some damage. Okay, so Mr. Unlimited, Chroma's Will. You have a lot of creatures. That's a game winner. That's why I said this deck is lacking game winners. That's a game winner right there. Ancient Copper Dragon, treasures when it deals damage. Anointed Procession, get your double tokens. Black Market Connections, 100% should be one of the first ads if you have it as a Mr. Unlimited. You're getting treasure tokens. You're creating a 3/2 shapeshifter, which is also a mercenary, so you're adding to that, and you could draw as well. It's just a good card that you should have in every black deck anyways, but it works especially good in this deck. Bonehorde Dracosaur, just got my first copy.
Oh, good for you.
This one's awesome
happy
here.
for you.
You're creating treasures, you're getting card advantage, you're getting creatures. Like there's a lot of stuff that card. This is
It
just
does a lot.
This card is really good. Cavern Horde Dragon from the Lord of the Rings one. It has Flying Trample Haste. I've been replacing this with a lot of the. I actually like this personally better than the Copper Dragon, only because of the haste part. Because it's a surprise attack. A lot of people are playing artifacts. You're going to get treasure tokens easily off of that. So this is
I agree,
yeah,
personally.
I like that one. I wanted this one to be in here so bad. Descent into Avernus. I think you put this in, and Ibukaki has talked about this one.
I do it because of Alex.
Yeah, and it's the one where it's the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on it, and then each player creates X treasure tokens, and then it deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of descent counters. So each turn you're getting 2 more treasures, and in this deck it's fantastic. So that would be a really big add there. Dockside, obviously you're dealing with treasure. Esper Sentinel. In this case, you can manipulate Esper Sentinel's power, so you can really make it so people can't pay for that. You had this in one of your decks, but Grim Hireling is a very good card. You're getting treasure. Oh, Hellkite Tyrant, one of the finalists in the You Win the Game cards. That's in here because you could just straight up win the game.
Did it win?
We'll see in a little bit. Master of Ceremonies has a way of getting treasures in there. Mondrak, Glory Dominus, or tripling token, twice
Doubling.
tokens. Monologue Tax actually could fit in here. Pitiless Plunderer, Revel in Riches, another you win the game thing. I have a lot of stuff, I know. Roaming Throne, Smothering Tithe, Spiteful Banditry. I think this one would be really good in here because you're doing X damage to each creature. Yours are getting bigger. But then whenever one or more creatures your opponents control die, you get a treasure. So that was a treasure adder there. Teferi's Protection. God, dude, you know how much Reaver Cleaver is right now? It's a $20 card.
Yeah.
So
I
that
have 3 of them.
yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Maybe only 2, but I wanted to make it bigger, so you hit the button.
So yeah, it gets 1+1 in trample, and then when it deals damage, you create that many treasure tokens. You're gonna have big creatures.
I mean, it was a $16 card when I got it. Like, it never was under 10.
Yeah, I guess it's a good card. And Zorn, you're making if you'd make a 1 or more tokens, create it. An additional one, so you're getting more treasure. Oh, and that's it. So
That's it?
That's the mystery. That's my
Just
22
big
cards.
treasure makers.
So that's what I would if I honestly had the deck. I mean, if you're playing it the way that the face commander is, this is how I would do it. The way I had the budget. If I was able to change the deck and be like, I don't like that commander, I'm switching to the other one, I would change out so much and go treasure base, almost like my Akiri deck in a way. Go treasure base and have my treasures be the things that are the game winners. Turn those into creatures, swing in and kill everybody. And at worst case scenario, using them to cast more spells. So I think that's the stronger of the two commanders. But with what's in the deck, the budget upgrades are the way to go. With maybe a smattering of these if you have them to go in the deck. So if there's any others that I missed, do you have any others, Lowry, that you would want to add? Like your
This Torbrand.
You could add that in the comments below. Either budget or non-budget. We want to hear all those comments for any of the decks. So make sure you guys do that. Okay, so that. Hey gang, the best way to support the Commander Smiths is to make sure you slap that like button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our online store, commandersmiths.com, where we have metal tokens, mugs, t-shirts, playmats, and more.